Hello, my name is Daan and I'm here to talk about spirituality, good governance and politics. I chose this topic because I talked with some good friends around what they felt I could bring to the table best of all the topics that were discussed at this conference, and several people told me, yeah, you should talk about good governance and politics. So, okay. It's very diverse. I started my working life, let's say, as a car mechanic. Then I studied aviation engineering. I did a bachelor's degree, and I ended up studying a master's in aerospace engineering at the Technical University in Delft. So it initially really oriented on matter and technology and machines. And at the end of my university, I came in contact with all kinds of spiritual practices, and I had some very mystical experiences, and this changed the course of my life. So I delved into shamanism. I lived in the Amazon for a while with some different tribes, and I learned about their traditions. I learned to work with certain medicinal plants. And when I came back, I'd had several visions about future ways of living. And for that, I started a project called Village of the Future. And for that, I realized that I need a tribe of entrepreneurs, of people who have personal leadership, are assertive and take charge and action. So I started a company around business development. It were mastermind groups, and the idea was to build a network of these people. And fast forward 3 years now, we've created this amazing platform with a beautiful group of people. And yeah, it's all about connecting, but it's about co-creation, and it's all about a lot of new paradigm ways of living, interacting together and creating. So that's a part of the journey of mine of the last 20 years. I think that's what we're really experiencing with our current organization with GaiaNet. That we're doing our best to create a decentralized power structure where everybody is invited to speak out their desires and their needs, and at the same time we work with resolving tensions, and through all of this it's a very harmonious flowing idea. And I think if you translate that into more complex and bigger governance systems in politics, that one major thing that is not present right now is honesty, just simple honesty. And for real honesty to emerge in a group of people, you need a high degree of psychological safety, right? You need trust. So the vision I have around spirituality, how that can help good governance and politics, is if people learn to break down their own defenses internally. In other words, achieve some kind of oneness with themselves. And you can call this spirituality or just regular personal development, self-inquiry. But what often a spiritual path and a practice aims for is transcendence of the self. And I've come to experience that people that embark on that journey of working on themselves and who do have these transcendental experiences, they become much more agreeable and much more fluid in complex environments and in these co-creative groups also, where yeah, my future vision for humanity on the planet is that we achieve total liberation. And with liberation, I don't necessarily mean that we all have to be enlightened. In other words, have no more cravings, no more desires, no more aversion. But with that, I'm more referring that we don't have any shackles anymore. That we can radically express our creativity. That we are in charge of our environments, what we put in our bodies, what we put in our brains, what the people that we are involved with. So in a way that's an environment of total liberation. But for that to occur on the planet, we significantly need to change how we run the business, right? I mean, the planet is not really run on trust and love and compassion, these values that a lot of spiritual practitioners embody. On the contrary, it's very much governed by fear and by separation and by scarcity and by lots of, I don't really like the word about vibrations and frequencies, but if it resonates with you, then this is something just useful for the conversation, because it is actually about the frequency that your heart emits, right? If you are feeling sensations of love and compassion and generosity, then overall you are vibrating at a different frequency in your heart space, your electromagnetic field. And when you're in these lower vibrations, it's like that. And a lot of the world seems to be governed by lower frequencies and vibrations right now. And what happens when people work on self-realization, they slowly start to become more content. They let go of anger and frustration and control and jealousy and greed and all these things, and they start to naturally become more of service to other people because they're simply just transcending the need for recognition or for unresolved childhood wounding or yeah, it's like that. And I think that is my vision of the future, is what our friend Brett says really nicely, that whole people create whole systems. And in a way, planet Earth is a whole system. And we need whole people in order to govern and create this whole system. And for that, I think it's immensely important that all leaders of big governments, of United Nations, of all these things, that they embody spirituality at the deepest level of their being. Because, I don't like the word should also, but those people, right, I think you agree, should be responsible for the general welfare of the people that they're governing. Right now, that's not the case. These people in these places of power, they are motivated and directed by their internal needs and desires, and by, I would say, a lot of immature behavior, what you would expect from a child or a teenager, to be seen, to be heard, to be loved. And what I see in governance and politics right now over the planet is a lot of that behavior. The vision is that once these people have several, if not just one, but several mystical experiences, and they experience unity consciousness, which can be facilitated by qualified people, then they're going to have very different behavior. They will take much better care of the planet, they will take better care of our ecosystems in general, but they will also be much more generous. They're also going to fight for this liberation, or at least, you know, be motivated for this kind of liberation. So I think it's, I hope it's kind of inevitable this is going to happen on the planet. For that reason, we're also creating different projects around this, and I believe we're in this transition phase right now. And you see it emerge slightly, but it's still very much under the radar. So before this hits mainstream, I don't think it's going to take that long, but I hope that spirituality, good governance and politics all can come as one, as service to the greater good and for all life in the universe. I feel good governance, and particularly politics, would be when people in a group, in a collective, achieve a certain resonance with each other, or heart coherence. And when people are resonating, things start to sing, right? When sounds start to resonate with other sounds, you get this singing feeling and everything becomes harmonious. For me, let's say the outcome of good governance and politics would be synergy and harmony and co-creation, like true co-creation. So what is needed for this, and what does it look like, is that people lower their guards, their emotional, psychological guards to each other. People dare to be vulnerable, and people speak their truth. And what we do with GaiaNet, I love these 4 agreements. This Toltec wisdom of don't make any assumptions, and don't take anything personal. You know? And always do your best. Even these, that's so important, that when you receive something from someone, yeah, and yeah, it would look like that people meet each other in a space of empathy and compassion for each other, instead of in a hostile environment or a rivalrous environment. So it would look like that people recognize that we're all on the same mission. Each company, each country, each organization, and each human being, at least those that have good intent. There's also really evil people on the planet, but overall I think 95% of the people have good intent. And a good governance and good politics environment would look like that. People are honest and true, and they speak from their heart, and they let people finish. And then, yeah, it's also about de-identifying from your own ideas and goals, and learning to transcend that also. But that's what spirituality will help people with. Yeah. First of all, a raising of consciousness on the planet in general. This awareness around the importance of people having at least the opportunity to develop themselves. But I think simple, more close to the ground actionable steps would be at education. That we start changing how we train children to think and to interact together. I guess when you include simple things like personal development, meditation, and self-reflective exercises, and you start to ask the kids, like, how do you feel? And what do you feel about others, and what are your needs? You know, that this communication is more practiced amongst each other, because they are the leaders of the future. And I guess what would help really, if this kind of knowledge and awareness and consciousness is incorporated in something like a United Nations, it becomes a topic. It would be great if countries can have a chairman around spirituality. They're so stripped away from all Western everything, like completely out of the society. As soon as religions were thrown out, yeah, the baby was thrown out with the bathwater. And that's that beautiful element that comes with spirituality, interconnectivity. Yeah, we cannot spread that word enough. So, yeah, it was really great sharing this talk with all of you. I hope you're having an amazing conference at the World United, and it was a big honor to share this talk also with you. I really hope that many people have the opportunity to contribute and to wake up to this, what is emerging on the planet, but I have no doubt anymore that it's all happening, for sure. So it's kind of like sit back and enjoy the ride, and it's all good. So have a good ride. Okay, ciao.